All right, welcome to this lesson here. We're going to be taking a look at adding integers without a calculator. So it's going to be important that we kind of take a look and see what is involved with that. I'm going to be, just as a little bit of a kind of a start, I'm going to be using something that I call a zero token, which is going to represent a number. Okay, it looks a little bit like this. This is a zero value, and I'm going to explain that in just a little bit. With a zero value, we can add or subtract zero without actually making any changes to the number. And it's going to help us just to kind of look at how do we solve these adding and subtracting problems. And I'm going to try to show in a visual sense as to how we do it. Now, when a full token is added to a number, the number does not change as the token is worth zero, but it's going to help us when we are looking at what are we adding to a number and what are we subtracting from a number. Now, this token is actually broken up into two separate pieces. The bottom one there, that whole circle, the blue one that I'm going to use, is going to be equal to 1. 1, yep. And so it's going to be a positive 1. And on that same note, that open circle is going to be given the value of negative 1. Now, a negative 1 and a positive 1, when you put them back together, okay, and it looks a little bit like that, it equals to 0. So that's where we're looking at the positive 1 and negative 1, and we're going to use those to represent values and integers as a part of this lesson and idea. So let's take a look at the first example that we have. It's 5 plus 3, and it's equal to something, right? If you're looking at this, hopefully you're seeing right away it's equal to 8. Good. Okay. How we're going to look at it visually is if we put 5 positive 1s on the screen there, and we add on another 3 positive 1s, we have a total of 8 positive 1s. We can count them up. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we can visualize that we can see those 8 positive 1s. Now, in a case like this, where we're going to add negatives, we can do the same thing. We can take 2 negative 1s. We can take 6 negative 1s, which is negative 2 plus 6, and we're adding them together. And now we have a total of negative 8, or 8 negative 1s, which would be negative 8. So this is a way of visually seeing how we're adding together our integers. Now, when we add positives or just add negatives, we're just combining them and it's becoming a larger number, okay, of positives or a larger number of negatives. In different scenarios would represent that. What happens if we have some positives and some negatives? So in this case, we're going to take positive 6 and we're going to add negative 4. So we're going to take our 6 positives and we're going to add on 4 negatives. Well, these are not like terms, but if we combine a positive and a negative, it's going to create a 0. So I'm going to take 4 of my positives and combine them with those 4 negatives. Now, a 0 term, which is what we have just created, actually can just disappear. It's gone. Woohoo! And we're left with just 2 positives. So this is a way of visually seeing how those positive negatives cancel each other out, and we're left with just a smaller number of, in this case, positives remaining. Now it's really going to depend on which number is bigger, the positive or negative number. In this case, the positive is bigger, so we're left with a few positives left over. In this case here, we have a bigger negative. So if you have your 7 positives and your 9 negatives, some of these can cancel out. Now, all of those positives are going to fill in a negative piece, and when we cancel out those zeros, because 0 is nothing, so we can get rid of it, we're left with a couple negatives. In this case, we're left with 2 negatives, and that is the end. So our value is negative 2. Now, I really hope that this helped you to kind of get an idea of the adding process using those visual cues and those 0 tokens. If you have questions, please throw them in the comments, or if you're in my class, you can always email me as well. Thank you for watching. All the best as you work on your questions.